आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है या हमारा आज का जो लेक्चर है दैट इज रिलेटेड विद द क्लास 10th एंड द सब्जेक्ट इज साइंस regarding the model test paper that is to be recently issued by the HP Board of School Education, Dharamshala, according to the new pattern for the session March 2025. And this is our day-wise preparation or plan for the board examination. This syllabus is common for all the boards, either CBSE board or the state board. तो अब हम शुरू करेंगे बेटे जो आज का हमारा मॉडल टेस्ट पेपर है। इसमें सबसे पहले मैं आपको बताऊंगी कि क्लास 10th का सब्जेक्ट साइंस का पेपर जो है दैट इज डिवाइडेड इनटू 4 सेक्शंस, सेक्शन ए, सेक्शन बी, सेक्शन सी एंड सेक्शन डी। सेक्शन ए कंप्राइजेस questions from question number 1 to 15 and these are multiple choice question. Each question carries 1 marks. Section B is from question number 16 to question number 24 and these are very short answer type questions and each question carries 2 marks. Section C is from question number 25 to 28 and these are short answer type questions and each question carries 3 marks. And the last section is section D, that is of very long answer type questions and it is from question number 29 to question number 31. तो इस तरह से हमारा साइंस का पेपर 4 सेक्शंस में डिवाइड रहेगा। आज का जो हमारा पार्ट नंबर 1 है वो है हमारा सेक्शन ए का मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस का विद एक्सप्लेनेशन के साथ उसको हम डिस्कस करेंगे। सेक्शन बी जो है वो हम अपने नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में डिस्कस करेंगे। तो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो हमारा दैट इज a student performs an experiment to form aluminum chloride from aluminium and chlorine. So aluminium and chlorine, it forms aluminium chloride. So this is the reaction. Which of the following options give the chemical equation of the reactions? आपके पास 3 ऑप्शंस दिए गए हैं। Al plus Cl2 give rise to AlCl2. Second one is 2Al plus Cl2 give rise to 2AlCl. Third one is 2Al plus 3Cl2 give rise to 2AlCl3. And the last one is 2Al plus 3Cl2 give rise to 3AlCl3. This is our reactant side and this is our product side. When the reactant side is equal to the product side, at that time we can say that our equation is balanced equation. So इसमें जो correct हमारी reaction है वो है 2Al plus 3Cl2 give rise to 2AlCl3. क्योंकि यहाँ पर हमारा aluminium जो है it reacts with chlorine to form aluminium chloride and the balanced chemical equation shows that 2 moles of aluminium and 3 moles of chlorine, 3Cl2, 3 moles of chlorine, 2AlCl3. Because in this balanced equation 2 moles of aluminium and 3 moles of chlorine to form 2 moles of aluminium chloride. This equation follows the law of conservation of mass and charge. Conservation of mass and charge. And it is the correct representation of the reaction. Our next question is question number 2. Lactic acid is present in, your options are orange, curd, tea and vinegar. So the correct answer is lactic acid is present in curd. So this is the right answer. It is present in curd. And why lactic acid is present in curd? Because lactic acid is a naturally occurring compound that is present in the various fermented foods including our curd, and it is produced during the fermentation process when bacteria like lactobacillus bacteria converts the lactose, that is the milk sugar, into the lactic acid. So curd is a rich source of the lactic acid. Curd is a rich source of the lactic acid which gives the characteristic tangy flavor and texture. So that's why lactic acid is present in the curd. Our next question is question number 3 and our question number 3 is a non-metal used to preserve food material. आपको उस non-metal का नाम बताना है that is used for the preservation of the food material. Options are number 1 is carbon, second one is the phosphorus, third one is sulfur and the last one is nitrogen. So out of these, nitrogen is the non-metal that is used to preserve the food material. And why it is used to preserve the food material? Because it is colorless, odorless, non-combustible as well as non-toxic gas. Nitrogen is the major component of the atmosphere, and it is used in the food preservation or food processing, air conditioning, refrigeration, as well as pressurizing our aircraft tires. So that's why nitrogen is used to preserve the food material, and it is a non-metal. It is colorless, odorless, as well as non-combustible and non-toxic gas. Our next question is a carbon compound which contains two atoms of carbon, which name should be the carbon compound bear. आपको एक कार्बन कंपाउंड है जो कि कंटेन कर रहा है टू कार्बन चेन को, जिसमें दो एटम्स हैं कार्बन के, तो उसमें से कौन सा जो नाम होगा उस कार्बन कंपाउंड का रहेगा. ऑप्शंस आर ब्यूटेन, इथेन, मीथेन एंड प्रोपेन. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू द nomenclature, the word root which contains the chain of one carbon atom, so that word root is meth. और जहां पर दो कार्बन की चेन होती है उसके अकॉर्डिंग जो वर्ड रूट रहेगा दैट इज ऑफ एथ. तीन कार्बन की चेन रहेगी तो वर्ड रूट जो होगा प्रॉप, एंड जहां पर चार कार्बन की चेन रहेगी वहां पर वर्ड रूट जो होगा वो होगा ब्यूट. तो यहां पर जो करेक्ट आंसर है, यहां पर कहा जा रहा है कि उस कार्बन कंपाउंड का नाम बताना है जिसमें कितने कार्बन है, टू कार्बन है. सो टू कार्बन को कंटेन करने वाला जो हमारा वर्ड रूट होता है वो होता है हमारा इथेन. सो द राइट आंसर इज इथेन. अब एक्सप्लेनेशन है कि जो प्रीफिक्स एथ है इन द इथेन indicates that the compounds which contain the chain length of the two carbon atoms, according to that the nomenclature or the nomenclature of that compound is eth. और जिसमें तीन कार्बन की चेन रहेगी वहां पर जो वर्ड रूट होगा वो होगा prop, और चार की जहां पर होगी वहां रहेगा but. तो used to denote the number of the carbon atoms in the chain. If the chain length is of one carbon atom, the word root is meth. If the chain length is of two carbon atoms, the word root is eth. If the chain length is of three carbon atoms, the word root is prop. And if the chain length is of four carbons, the word root is but. So therefore, a carbon compound with two carbon atoms should be named as ethane. इस वजह से हम कह सकते हैं कि कार्बन कंपाउंड जो कंटेन कर रहा है chain of two carbon atoms की, the word root or it should be named as ethane. Next your question number 5, and your question number 5 is which statement is true for the reflection of light? Options are the angle of incidence and the reflection are equal. Second one is the reflected light is less bright than the incident light. Third is the sum of the angles of incidence and the reflection is always greater than 90 degree. And the last one is the beams of the incident light after reflection diverge at unequal angles. आंसर जो इसमें से हमारा करेक्ट आंसर रहेगा कि जो रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ लाइट के लिए हमारी करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट रहेगी वो ये है कि जो एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस है एंड एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन बोथ ऑफ देम आर इक्वल. एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस एंड एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन बोथ आर equal. So this statement is true. And why we can say that the angle of incidence and the reflection are equal? So according to the law of reflection, हम law of reflection के according देखें तो when the light falls on the surface of the angle of the incidence, that is the angle at which light hits the surface. Angle of incidence जो है वो ये है जहां पर जो एंगल आपका बनता है that hits the light or which light hits the surface. जहां पर जो लाइट है वो हिट करती है सरफेस को अकॉर्डिंग टू द एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस, दैट इज इक्वल टू द एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन. एंड एंगल ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन क्या है? द एंगल एट विच लाइट बाउंसेस बैक. ऐसा एंगल जहां पर लाइट जो होती है वो क्या करती है? बाउंसेस बैक. So this is the fundamental principle of optics and it is true for all the types of the refractive surfaces. All the reflective surfaces. So this is the reason, that's why we can say that the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection, they are always equal. This is the fundamental principle of the optics and it is true for all the types of the reflective surfaces. Next question is question number 6, and your question number 6 is in which part of the human eye is the image of an object formed? आपको human eye का वो part बताना है जहां पर ऑब्जेक्ट की इमेज बनती है. ऑप्शंस आर इरस, pupil, retina and cornea. So out of these options, which part of the human eye is the image of an object is formed? So the correct answer is retina. Retina is the part of the human eye where the image of an object is formed. So the retina is the innermost layer of the light. It is the innermost layer of the eye. So retina is the innermost layer of the eye. It is the innermost layer of the eye that contains specialized light sensitive cells. इसमें क्या है, ये जो हमारा रेटिना जो है, that is the innermost layer of the eye. It contains the specialized light sensitive cells, जिनको कि हम क्या बोलते हैं, that are called as photoreceptors, where rods and cones are present. When light enters the eye through the cornea, it is the next most important part. When the light enters the eye through the cornea and the pupil, it converts the light into the electrical signals. At that time, it converts the light into the electrical signals which are transmitted to the brain where the image is interpreted. The retina is the actual site where the images of an object is formed in the human eye. That's why we can say that retina is a part of the human eye where the image of an object is formed. Next question is, electrical resistivity of a given metallic wire depends upon, options are its length, its shape, its thickness and nature of the material. So electrical resistivity of the given metallic wire depends upon either its length, its shape, its thickness, and the last one is nature of the material. So the correct answer is electrical resistivity of the given metallic wire. It depends upon the nature of the material. Nature of the material. Why the electrical resistivity of the given metallic wire? It depends upon the nature of the material, because the electrical resistivity is the property of the material that depends upon the internal structure and composition. It is a measure of how strongly a material opposes the flow of the electric current, and the resistivity of the material is determined by its atomic structure, crystal lattice and electron mobility. So the resistivity of the material, it is to be determined with the help of atomic structure. Second one is crystal lattice. Third one is electron mobility. The resistivity of the wire does not depend on its length, shape or thickness, but rather than on the inherent properties of the material that is made of. Next is question number 8. An electric bulb is rated 220 volt and 100 watt. When it is operated on 110 volt, the power consumed will be. Options are 100 watt, 75 watt, 50 watt and 25 watt. So the correct answer is 25 watt. So the power consumed by an electric bulb, that is given by the formula, and the formula is power is equal to V square upon R, where P is the power, it is the power, V square is the voltage and R is the resistance. Since the bulb is rated at 220 volt and 100 watt, so since the bulb is rated at 220 volt as well as 100 watt, we can calculate the resistance. So R is equal to V square upon R. So V square जो है हमारे पास कितना है 220 divided by the resistivity जो हमारे पास जो resistance है that is 100 watt का है. अगर हम इसकी कैलकुलेशन करेंगे that comes out to be 484 ohm. Now when the bulb is operated, आगे क्वेश्चन था, now when the bulb is operated at 110 volt, the power consumed will be. at that time power is equal to v square upon r. अब हमारे पास v जो है जब हम ऑपरेट करेंगे बल्ब को at that time 110 मल्टीप्लाई बाय 110 रेजिस्टेंस हमारे पास निकल आया है 484. जब हम इसकी कैलकुलेशन करेंगे the answer comes out to be 25 watt. So the right answer is 25 watt. Therefore the power or consumed by the bulb when operated on 110 volt, it comes out to be 25 watt. आप यहाँ कैलकुलेशन करके आपको पता लग गया है कि therefore the power consumed by the bulb when operated at 110 volt, it comes out to be 25 watt. Next question is, in amoeba food is digested in the options are number 1 is food vacuole, second one is mitochondria, third one is pseudopodia, and the last one is chloroplast. These are the 4 options in amoeba where the food is digested in. Either it is digested in the food vacuole, it is digested in the mitochondria, it is digested in the pseudopodia, or it is digested in the chloroplast. So the correct answer is in amoeba food is digested in food vacuole, digested in food vacuole. Amoeba is a single-celled organism. It is always a single-celled organism. So amoeba is always a single-celled organism that ingests food particles through a process, and that process is called as phagocytosis. So with the help of this process, amoeba, it ingests the food particles through the process of the phagocytosis. The ingested food particles are then enclosed in a membrane bound structure, and that membrane bound structure is called as the food vacuole. Inside the food vacuole, digestive enzymes, they break down the food particles into the smaller molecules. So inside the food vacuoles, the digestive enzymes, they help to break down the food particles into the smaller molecules that can be absorbed and utilized by the cell. The food vacuole is the site of intracellular digestion in amoeba. And the other options are incorrect. Why? Only food vacuole is the correct options and the other options are incorrect. So the other options are incorrect because mitochondria, they are the site of the cellular respiration, not the digestion. Pseudopodia, they are extensions of the cell membrane that are used for the movement as well as ingestion of the food and not the digestion. Third one is the chloroplast, are the organelles that are found in the plant cells responsible for the process of the photosynthesis and not present in the amoeba. So that's why chloroplast, pseudopodia, mitochondria, all these are incorrect options regarding the question number 9, that in amoeba the food is digested in, and the main role of chloroplast is that they are the organelles that are only found in the plant cells and it plays an important role in the process of the photosynthesis, not present in the amoeba. Next is question number 10, and the question number 10 is the gap between the two neurons is called. The gap between the two neurons is called as, options are dendrites, synapse, axon and impulse. So there are 4 options and you justify the right answer. The gap between the two neurons, either that is dendrite, synapse, axon or impulse. So the gap between the two neurons, it is called as synapse. So why the gap between the two neurons, it is called as synapse? Because the synapse is a small gap or the junction between the two neurons or the nerve cell. It is a very small gap between the two neurons or the nerve cells that allows them to communicate with each other. उस छोटे से गैप की वजह से जो कि नर्व सेल से न्यूरॉन्स के बीच में जो साइनेप्स है, एक छोटा सा स्मॉलेस्ट गैप है, ये नॉन जंक्शन है या फिर जंक्शन गैप है बिटवीन द टू न्यूरॉन्स या नर्व सेल्स के बीच में, जो कि क्या करता है, वो अलाउ करता है दोनों को टू कम्युनिकेट विद ईच अदर, एंड इट इज अ साइट वेयर द केमिकल सिग्नल्स और द न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर्स आर रिलीज्ड बाय द terminal end of one neuron, that is the synaptic neuron, and bind to the receptors on the next neuron, that is the postsynaptic neuron transmitting the signals. The other options are incorrect. हम ये कहेंगे कि यही ऑप्शन सही ऑप्शन क्यों है, जो साइनैप्स है. अदर ऑप्शंस डेंड्राइट्स है, साइनैप्स है, एक्सोन है, वो सही ऑप्शंस क्यों नहीं है? तो आपकी जो साइनैप्स है वही सही ऑप्शन है, रेस्ट आपके डेंड्राइट्स, एक्सोन और इंपल्स जो है वो इनकरेक्ट ऑप्शंस है इस क्वेश्चन से रिलेटेड. तो साइनैप्स सही क्यों है? क्योंकि साइनैप्स एक स्मॉलेस्ट गैप है, जंक्शन है दो न्यूरॉन्स या नर्व सेल्स के बीच में, जो कि क्या अलाउ करता है टू कम्युनिकेट विद ईच अदर, एंड ये एक ऐसा साइट है वेयर केमिकल सिग्नल्स और द न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर्स दे आर रिलीज्ड बाय द terminal end of one neuron, that is the presynaptic neuron, or bind to the receptors on the next neuron, that is the postsynaptic neuron transmitting signals. Other options are incorrect such as dendrite, axon or impulse. Dendrites जो है वो क्यों dendrite, second one is the axon, third one is the impulse. So these are the incorrect options. Dendrites, they are the branching extensions of a neuron that receive signals from the other neurons. Axons, these are long, thin extensions of a neuron that carry signals away from the cell body to each other neurons or to muscles or the glands. Impulse, these refers to the electrical and the chemical signals. Both electrical as well as chemical signals, they are bonded by the impulse that travels along the neuron, but it is not structural component of the neuron. That's why dendrites, axon as well as impulse, these are not the correct options related with this question. Next question is the anther contains. Options are sepals, ovules, pistil or pollen grains. एंथर क्या कंटेन करते हैं? नंबर 1 इज सेपल्स, नंबर 2 ओव्यूल्स, नंबर 3 पिस्टल एंड द नंबर 4 इज pollen grains. So the correct answer is pollen grains. So the anther contains pollen grains. Why the anther contains pollen grains? Because the anther, it is a pollen producing part of the flower. Pollen producing part of the flower. Pollen producing part of flower, typically found at the tip of the stamen, or especially ये कहाँ पर होता है? At the tip of the stamen, that is the male reproductive organ of the flower, and the anther, they contain the pollen sacs where pollen grains are produced through the process of microsporogenesis. So it is a process that is known as microsporogenesis. Pollen grains, they are the male gametes, that is the reproductive cells of the plant, and they are responsible for the process of fertilizing the ovules, that is the female reproductive cells in the pistil. Other options are incorrect options such as sepals, ovules and pistil. Number 1 is the sepal. Sepal, they are green leaf-like structures that protects the flower bud before it opens. Second one is the ovule. They are the female reproductive cells that are found in the pistil. Last one is the pistil. Pistil is the female reproductive organ of the flower, consisting of the stigma, style and ovary. It consists of stigma, second one is style, and the third one is the ovary. So pistil is the female reproductive part or reproductive organ of the flower, and it consists of stigma, style as well as ovary. Next is question number 12. The amount of energy that flows from one trophic level to another trophic level in the food chain. So first of all, you very well know about the food chain. The interdependence of food from one organism to another organism is known as food chain. So here the amount of the energy that flows from one trophic level to another trophic level in the food chain, that is of either 5%, 20%, 10% or 15%? The correct answer is of 10%. The amount of the energy that flows from one tropic level to another tropic level in the food chain is typically around 10%. This is known as 10% rule भी इसको कहा जाता है. It is also known as 10% rule or tropic efficiency or tropic efficiency. Tropic efficiency. It means that only 10%, it means that only about 10% of the energy is available at one tropic level that is transmitted to the next tropic level or that is transferred to the next tropic level. तो इसका मतलब क्या हो गया कि 10% रूल या फिर ट्रॉपिक एफिशिएंसी का मतलब क्या हो गया बेटे? It means that only about 10% of the energy available at one tropic level and it is transferred to the next tropic level, and the remaining 90% of the energy is lost as a heat, waste or it is used for other purposes such as growth, maintenance as well as reproduction. So only 10% rule or the tropic efficiency, it means that only about 10% of the energy that is available at one tropic level and it transferred to the next tropic level, and rest of the 90% of the energy that is lost in the form of heat, waste or it is used for the other purposes such as growth, maintenance as well as reproduction. So here the 10% rule helps to explain why food chains typically have only 3 to 5 tropic levels, as energy is lost at each transfer, making it difficult to support additional tropic level. So the amount of the energy that flows from one tropic level to another tropic level, it is of 10%. So the right answer is 10%. Next is your question number 13, and question number 13 to 14. These questions are related with the assertion and reason. So here the question is, यहाँ पर दिया गया 13 to 15 questions. These are the two statements and assertion A and reason R. Answer the question selecting the appropriate option given in below. First is both A and R are true and R is correct explanation of A. Second one is both A and R are true and R is not the correct explanation of A. Third is A is true but R is false, and the last one A is false but R is true. अब यहाँ पर हमारा क्वेश्चन नंबर 13 क्या है बेटा? Assertion: rusting of iron is endothermic in nature. Reason: as the reaction is slow, the release of the heat is rarely evident. Answer: the correct answer is A is false but R is true. यहाँ पर जो correct हमारा आंसर रहेगा, assertion is false but reason is true. अब क्यों है ऐसा, क्या कारण है? assertion हमारा जो है वो false है but reason is true. assertion क्यों false है? Because rusting of iron is actually an exothermic process. It is not an endothermic process. Actually, rusting of iron is an exothermic process releasing heat energy. The reason is true because the reason given in this statement is correct in stating that the release of heat may be barely evident due to the slow rate of reaction, but it does not correctly explain the assertion, which is false. Next is question number 14. Assertion A: compass needle is placed near a current carrying wire. The deflection of the compass needle decreases when the magnitude of the current in the wire is increased. Reason जो है, the strength of the magnetic field at a point near the conductor increases on increasing the current. Answer जो है, A is false but R is true. That means assertion is false and reason is true. Assertion क्यों false है? Because when the magnitude of the current in the wire is increased, the deflection of the compass needle actually increases. जैसे जैसे मैग्नीट्यूड जो है करंट का इन द वायर वो इंक्रीज करेगा, वैसे वैसे जो डिफ्लेक्शन है कंपास नेडल की वो भी इंक्रीज करेगी, बट नॉट इट डिक्रीजेस. The reason is true because the strength of the magnetic field at a point near the conductor indeed increases when the current is increased. According to the Ampere law, जैसे जैसे जो आपका मैग्नेटिक फील्ड है एट अ पॉइंट नियर द कंडक्टर इंक्रीज करेगा, वैसे वैसे आपका करंट जो होगा वो भी इंक्रीज करेगा अकॉर्डिंग टू द एम्पियर्स लॉ. However, this reason does not correctly explain the assertion which is false. Question number 15. The use of chemical like endangered the ozone layer, that is chlorofluorocarbon. Reason, since the ozone layer protects against the ultraviolet radiations from the sun, this could damage the environment. The correct answer is both A and R are true, and R is the explanation of A. तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर A and R are true. Assertion और reason दोनों ही यहाँ पर true है, and R is explanation of A. Assertion क्यों true है? The use of chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbon, this is chlorofluorocarbon, has indeed endangered the ozone layer by causing its depletion. Reason is true. Assertion is also true, and reason is also true. Reason is true and correctly explain the assertion. The ozone layer protects against the ultraviolet radiations. ये truth है कि जो ozone layer है, it always protects us from the ultraviolet radiations from the sun, and its depletion could damage the environment, leading to the harmful effects on living organisms such as increased risk of skin cancer and other diseases. So these are the important MCQ questions or objective questions that are related with the section A, and section A is of multiple choice questions, and these questions are from question number 1 to 15, जिसमें आपके क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 to 12 जो होंगे वो ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चंस रहेंगे, और क्वेश्चन नंबर 13 to 15 जो होंगे दैट आर रिलेटेड विद द असर्शन एंड रीजन. तो यहाँ पर हमारा सेक्शन ए जो है क्लास 10th का सब्जेक्ट साइंस का कंप्लीट हो जाता है विद एक्सप्लेनेशन के साथ. कल हम सेक्शन बी जो है पार्ट नंबर 2 में इसका कंटिन्यू करेंगे. अब हमारे इसमें 3 सेक्शन रह गए हैं, सेक्शन बी, सेक्शन सी एंड सेक्शन डी. तो हम इसको कल कंटिन्यू करेंगे. तब तक आप इन ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चंस की, एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चंस की आप तैयारी करें.